Awesome. And again, just in case you didn't hear, all you'll need for today is a mat. I've got one behind me, a water bottle, a towel if you'd like one, just to kind of dry off every once in a while. Well, you won't need any weights unless you'd like to add some, but all of the exercises that I've planned for today are body weight. So, all right, our waiver. In order to make these classes as freely accessible to our participants, we will be using a verbal warning and assumption of risk at the beginning of the class. Participation in this online class is voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury, and by participating, you assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that is suitable for this activity. For example, make sure that you have moved nearby furniture and other potential hazards. If you're participating in a yoga class or a class that involves lying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience pain or injury and should seek appropriate medical advice or care as needed. William & Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have an annual physical examination and follow the advice of your healthcare provider before participating. All right, guys, now that we got that out of the way, what we're gonna do is go ahead and start, okay? So we're gonna start off with our warm-up, which usually when I'm teaching in class, I like to do like a cardio warm-up, but we're just gonna start off with a nice big stretch, something that that's called the world's greatest stretch. Just kind of helps activate all of the different muscle groups in your body, mainly in the legs, but I'm also gonna add on some other stuff to help us in the arms. All right, so let me move this so you guys can see me better. There we go. All right, so go. All right, guys, so what we're gonna start off is just at the end of your mat, standing right at the edge. We're gonna go ahead, bend down, feel a nice stretch in those hamstrings, and inchworm walk it all the way out into a nice plank. Just like this, and what we're gonna do is bring one of your legs, it really doesn't matter, but remember which one, up to meet your hands, and then we'll straddle our hands around our foot. All right, so looking like this, so you guys can see. Woo, that's the fun thing about teaching up here, I often hit the wall. All right, so what we're gonna do is with the hand that is the same hand as the foot that's forward, we're gonna take it, make a fist, and connect it directly above the elbow. All right, from here, what we're gonna do is just take that elbow on this hand and bring it right next to the feet. So we're gonna do 8 reps of this, just basically dipping a little bit lower into that lunge, trying to get that elbow down to the floor. And just feel a nice stretch, one through that hamstring, and then also through that hip flexor as we go down. So we'll do that for 8 reps. And that's what we're gonna do for every single one of these. There's kind of 4 parts to this work, or to this stretch. So 8 reps for each one. I think I've got 3 more. 3, 2, all right, and we're gonna extend this and bring it into a little bit of a spinal twist. So keep that foot forward, still straddling those hands. We're gonna take that same hand, we're going to thread the needle underneath that opposite arm and then twist open, getting a nice twist through that lumbar spine, nice twist all the way up that back, and also feeling a little bit of activation in those shoulders. All right, so 8 reps here. That was 4 for me. And again, still getting a little bit deeper into that hamstring. Whoop, a little pop there. 2 and 1. All right, guys, next one, straddle those hands around that foot. We're gonna rock basically a nice dynamic stretch between our hamstring stretch, just like this, and a nice big hip flexor stretch. So we're getting 8 reps just like this, bringing that toe up to the ceiling as we come into that hamstring stretch, and then coming forward into our little bit of hip flexor stretch here, making sure on that hamstring stretch that we have a nice flat back. If you can, nice neutral neck. All that means is that we're not craning our neck downwards and we're not lifting it up too hard either. All right, do 3 more here. Keep your own count. I always lose count as I'm talking, so that's why I do an interval class. All right, guys, 1 more. And the last stretch on this side. This is where I'm gonna add something. You don't usually see this with our world's greatest, but I think it's gonna help us activate our chest and our back. So we're gonna come into a nice, deep, low lunge. All it is a nice pulse up and down, feeling a little bit of quad activation. And we're gonna bring our hands to heart center in front of us. And as we go down, what we're gonna do is we're gonna push our hands together, and then as we come up, release. So all we're doing is just pressing the palms together, so we feel a little bit of activation in that chest. Really feel it through that back as well. Contracting through those lats, big muscles right here. for 8. So 1 inch up, 1 inch down. I got 4 more. Even this, feel a little bit of shaking, and that is totally fine. 2 more. And 1 more. All right, guys. Curl those hands down to straddle. I'm going to turn around so you guys can see me, just like this. We'll bring that foot nice and far back into that plank, and we're going to inchworm it back up. So hopefully you remember which side you were on, because we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So again, nice big swan dive. Keep those knees nice and bent down onto the floor. Or inchworm those hands out in front of us to a plank, and then bring that opposite leg forward and bring those hands to straddle it. All right, so you guys remember, same hand as the leg that's forward, which again, I will flip around just like this. Same hand, we're gonna make a fist and connect it directly above that kind of elbow pit, all right? And what we'll do there is just bring that elbow as close to the ground as possible, and then right back up, down and up. Just waking up through that opposite hamstring. Again, nice flat back if you can. If you want to, you can kind of bring that leg a little bit over to the side as you bring that elbow down, getting a little bit more into that inner thigh. Lots of ways you can customize this. All right, guys, 2 more. Again, just trying to get to that 8 rep. All right, take a little rest if you need it. And then we're gonna extend this stretch into that nice big twist. So bringing that same arm underneath, threading the needle, and then twisting open. And what's something I forgot to mention on the other side is to make sure we get that twist all the way up through that spine. Make sure that those eyes are following those fingertips. All right, so all the way back down, follow, and then through, threading the needle. Let's do 4 more. I did body pump yesterday, so I'm a little tired, a little sore. And last one here. All right, guys, straddle that foot, and we're coming into that nice big hamstring stretch. So switching between rocking it back onto those, onto that back leg, lifting the toe up on this first hamstring, nice flat back, and then coming into a hip flexor stretch. So just rocking between these two, making sure that that toe is coming up on that hamstring stretch for 8 reps. Nice flat back still. Oh yeah, that squat track. Ouch. All right, guys. 3, 2, and you can finish your reps. If I'm a little bit earlier, a little bit later than you are, totally fine. Now we come into a nice low lunge, just that nice big pulse. We're 1 inch up, 1 inch down as we connect those hands at heart center and push together. Really want you to focus this time on activating that chest. I know I mentioned activating our lats last time, but let's activate that chest. So 1 inch up as we, or 1 inch down as we press together, and release as we come up. My hands are making a nice little squelching sound, I guess I'll say. That's good. All right, 4 more. Just 1 inch up, 1 inch down. Nice 90-90 bend in this lunge. I don't think we maybe have 1 lunge a little bit for our cardio track, or cardio section, but nothing too big. All right, guys. So come on down, just straight straddle that foot again. We're gonna bring that leg back to meet the other one into a plank, and then we'll inchworm it back to standing. Woo, and I'm gonna hit the wall once again. All right, guys, that is the end of our warm-up. What we're gonna do now, and I realize I didn't explain what this class is, so let me do that before we get started. Grab some water, kind of keep moving, keep that energy up from our warm-up. But essentially, what 3x3x3 is, it's a strength training class if you've never done it before. I just don't see, or see some names I don't recognize, so that's exciting. But basically what we're going to be doing today is 3 big blocks of work. That's the first 3. Within each of those big blocks, there are kind of 3 sections. We do a minute of arms, a minute of legs or lower body, and then a minute of core. We repeat that 3 times. So there's kind of those 3 minutes, that's one of the 3s. And then the last 3 is that we repeat each time. And in between each of those big blocks of work is we do a minute of cardio. All right, guys. So got my cheat sheet here. The first thing that we're going to be doing, we're going to be working for our first block of work on shoulders, hamstring / glutes, and then also kind of the stabilizer muscles in our core, okay? So our first upper body move is just going to be arm circles. So for this, what we're going to do is pretty much our palms are gonna face downwards. We're gonna do 30 seconds of forward movements and then 30 seconds of backward movements. Okay, so the way to make this a little bit easier, you can bend those arms just a touch, make it a little bit more difficult, make them nice and straight, just like that, all right? So that's our upper body move. The lower body move is going to be, I actually stole this from Brenna, so Brenna, thank you. We're gonna be on our bellies, just like this, all right, nice neutral neck. Your hands can be down by your sides, or they can be out or up, it really doesn't matter, it's more of a comfort thing. All we're gonna be doing is doing lying hamstring curls, all right? So we're curling our hamstrings up and then releasing them, all right? So big thing is that we keep those feet off of the ground. If you'd like to take that option and you wanna bring them to the ground every single time that you curl, that's totally fine. But the kind of base move is that we keep them up and we're just squeezing, 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 just like this. Feel a little bit of activation in those glutes and then also in those hamstrings. And then for our core, what we're gonna be doing is something called a marching plank, all right? So with this, we're gonna be up on our hands or down on our forearms. I tend to prefer my forearms. If you see me doing that, that's why. But all we're gonna be doing is the next plank, and we're going to just basically be marching, okay? So step, 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 just like this. The higher that you bring those feet, the more difficult it is to stabilize that core, but also the more difficult it is on those glutes and those hamstrings, which we're actually already working in this sort of portion. So just be mindful of that. There's lots of options, and I'll be cueing kind of safety cues the whole time. But let me get my timer going. We're gonna start with those arm circles. And you guys will get the hang of it if you've never done this class before, so no worries. But we'll start off with those arm circles in 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, so 30 seconds forward. I'm gonna try to cue those 30 seconds. If I forget though, I'll try to make it up to you guys. But really important with this, the smaller and the more controlled you can make these, the better, all right? And I also want you guys to be mindfully focusing on, as we move these arms around, right, in those circles, that we're still contracting through the shoulders, right? We usually might do this with weights, but I figured today, just try to make it body weight. It's a Saturday. So the more you can contract through those muscles, the better. All right, let's flip the direction. We'll go backwards this time. Remember those palms face downwards. Squeeze into those deltoids. Nice micro bend in the knees also. Anytime that we're doing a standing move, I want you guys focused on keeping those knees nice and bent so that we're not, restricting blood flow to our brain or to our legs, anything like that. We're almost there. Bracing through that core to stabilize us. 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, so we've got 10 seconds. So let's come on down to the ground for those lying hamstring curls. So again, those arms can be out in whatever position you'd like. I think I'm gonna keep mine up at the top, but we're gonna curl our hamstrings with flexed feet. We wanna make our legs in a little bit of a V, so we get kind of the outside of those glute muscles as well. But same sort of thing. Anytime that we can really focus on activating and squeezing through the muscles that we're working, for example here, the hamstrings up at the top, the more that those muscles are going to have to work, all right? So you guys are doing awesome. If you can, I know I'm an exception because I'm looking at you guys, but try to make sure that your neck is nice and neutral, maybe looking a foot in front of you, 6 inches in front of you. Just trying not to extend that neck too far. And if you'd like, you can also put that head on the mat, touching that forehead to the mat. And maybe if you have your hands out in front like me, you try it out to the side. It really doesn't matter. We're really focusing on those hamstrings though. And as I said, you can also tap in between. All right, guys, and that's our last one. 10-second break. Remember, we've got that marching plank. So think about which one you're gonna do. You're gonna be up on your hands and ready, set, go. So this one, I swear it's gonna start to hurt a little bit, all right? The main thing though is that we keep that butt down, so I don't wanna see any mountains like this. I don't wanna see any valleys like this, all right? I wanna see a nice flat back. And all we're doing is marching. And again, if you're feeling like, oh, I need something else, you can lift and lower a little bit more. All right, so what we're doing here is really stabilizing using those transverse abdominis, so the muscles that go all the way to your back. And they're just contracting, and they really help us to stabilize through our back and stabilize through all of the movements that we do in everyday life. All right, so you can also be on your forearms or up, kind of like I mentioned, And all we're doing is trying to keep those hips nice and square to the mat. So almost like if you had headlights on your hips, those headlights should be nice circles, trained directly on the mat. All right, guys, that was our last little thing. I don't know if you can hear my timer, but in between each of those blocks of work, we have about 20 seconds rest. So we're gonna go back to our upper body now. So we'll stand it on up, grab water if you need it. But that was one of our little blocks within our big block, all right? So back to the arm circles, nice micro bend in the knees. Ready, set, go. So what I really want us to focus on this time, right, is still that contraction through those deltoids, so the tops of our shoulders, fronts of our shoulders, and the backs of our shoulders. But we're also focusing on, rather than having our butt tucked out like this, we're gonna tuck that pelvis underneath us, and that's a good way to engage that core, all right? Every move that we do here, we should really be focusing on where that core is and where it should be, giving it a lot of attention, strengthen it, prepare it for everyday life. All right, guys, switch it up, other way. Maybe you're starting to feel this a little bit more. If you need to take a little break, we can swing, you can bring a little bit of an arm, shoulder stretch just like that. Almost started to go forwards again. All right, guys, 10 seconds left. We are almost there. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing. I'm starting to feel this one. Woo. 3, 2, 1. All right, and drop it. If you need a little quick shoulder stretch, you can. Just make sure we're not tugging on directly on that joint. And we'll come down for those hamstring curls. All right, guys. So again, option, if you're really feeling those hamstrings today, you can tap in between to touch those toes to the floor, or you can keep them up. That's just going to really challenge those hamstrings if we keep those legs up off the ground, because they have not only have to fight to curl them inwards, but they also have to fight to keep them up. All right, so remembering that nice neutral neck. And even here, right, you would never think, I really should be focusing on where my core is, but we're bracing that core. That's going to help us stabilize this movement and really just give power to all the rest of our muscles, okay? So thinking about just bracing that core, not necessarily flexing or anything like that, but just using that core as a place of power to motivate this move. All right, guys, we're over halfway. Keep it up, keep it up. If you need a little break, you just rest for a bit. All right, guys, that was our last one. An ill-timed break, but that's okay. All right, we're coming back to that marching plank. So if you want to be on your forearms, you can be. If you want to be on your arms, that's totally fine as well. Just some cues for that, making sure that our plank is not pushed backwards like this. This is a good way to kind of get into that mountain position, but that our shoulders, if we're on our forearms, are directly over the tops of our elbows. And if we're on our arms, we're kind of in a regular plank, then our shoulder heads, those kind of tops of our shoulders, are directly over our wrists. All right, guys, that's halfway. I wasn't marching. Keep marching, guys. This could be a nice slow march, really focusing on that lift through that glute if you'd like to really challenge your glutes today, or it can be nice and fast, where we're really just stabilizing and controlling through those abs. And this is not an easy move, so if you're really shaken, trust me, I am as well. I am pretty tired, so that is totally fine. All right, guys, knees down, take a little breather. So I have some good news for you. Hold on one second. We only have one more block of all of these moves. So if you really hate one of these or all of them, that's totally fine. You've only got to do them one more time for class, all right? So nice dead stance. Bringing those arms forward in our arm circles. So what I want you guys to be focusing on for this round is thinking about how can I challenge myself for this last round? Does that mean we're gonna go a little bit faster with some of the moves while still keeping them controlled, so getting some more reps in? Are you going to really focus on contracting through those muscles? There's a lots of different ways you can challenge yourself, guys. And even if you don't necessarily reach those goals, I want you guys to be thinking about it today, okay? All right, that's halfway. Let's switch it up. Again, contracting, contracting. I often sometimes also feel when I'm doing shoulder movements that I like to stabilize with my lats. So if you want to get your back involved, that is totally fine as well. But really challenging your shoulders here. Making sure we're not lowering too far, we're not arm circling down here, and we're also not arm circling way up here, right? We're nice in line with those shoulders. That's going to give us the best workout for those shoulders today. 3, 2, 1. All right, nice big stretch. Quickly, but nice and big. All right, guys, let's lay it down on the mat for those hamstring curls. Last time we'll do these hamstring curls. All right, so again, making kind of a V with your legs, and then bringing them up. Start whenever you're ready and join me. All right, guys, so thinking about maybe if you've been tapping in between, maybe you can try to do kind of 2 without tapping and then tap in between. So tapping every other one. If you want to challenge yourself, that's a great way to do so. Maybe you also just try to do all of them without tapping on the ground. Another great way to do so. What I want you guys to really focus on too is squeezing those glutes and those hamstrings as you curl in, all right? Maybe pausing a little bit longer up at the top as we squeeze those hamstrings, flexing those feet a little bit harder. Good job, guys. I can't see you, but that's okay. I know you're all rocking it. All right, y'all, we are almost done. 3, 2, 1, woo, and relax. All right, we'll get a nice hamstring stretch in a second. All right, guys, back to that last marching plank. So this one, I want to challenge you to keep marching the whole time. I'm going to challenge myself as well. I know I've been talking quite a bit, trying to show different options, but we're all in this together, making sure those butts are nice and flat. It also doesn't really have to be that much of a lift. It can honestly just be a movement, and what we're doing here is just trying to use those abdominal muscles, squeezing through them to stabilize us, right? To keep us in place, keep those hips in place. That's all we're doing, just challenging ourselves a little bit. And maybe if you're on your hands, you try to bring it down to your forearms. Maybe if you're on your forearms, you bring it up to your hands just to try something different. Work through a little bit more of those shoulder muscles or a little bit more through those chest muscles, depending on which option you're doing. We can also lift a little bit farther, make it a true lift. Lots of different options here. And I don't know if you guys can see, but I am shaking. So if you are shaking, that's a good place to be. And if you're not, proud of you. All right, guys, knees down. Woo. We have got 25 seconds before our cardio peak. So that was the end of our first block. As I said, we separate each block with a little bit of cardio. So this first cardio are going to be jump knees. All right, so all this is high knees. So bringing our hands out in front of us if you want, or kind of down. But I want you to try to give yourself a nice gauge for how high those knees need to be. So 1 minute just like this. Ready, set, go. Join me when you're ready. Turn to the side. If we're leaning back a little bit, that is totally fine. I want you to focus on your heels up, toes are down. A little combat cue for you. I also teach combat, so I'm missing it a little bit, but that's okay. All right, guys. So this is a good pace to be in. You can also slow it down just like this. Just do some nice high knees, maybe getting those arms involved. We can also be speeding it up a little bit more and really getting those legs involved, really getting that cardio up. But after this, we'll go into our second round of work. You guys are doing awesome. All right, 15 seconds left, guys, all the way through 0. Here we go. Woo. I want you to be breathless. I am. It's difficult to speak when you're so breathless, but that's where I want you guys to be. 3, 2, and 1. All right, guys, awesome job. I know we worked those hamstrings. So let's take a little bit of a stretch together. A nice big shoulder stretch. Switching when you're ready. It'll be nice and quick. We'll get it fully at the end of class, but just a nice intermediate stretch. We can also take a nice figure 4 stretch, get into that glute, into that hamstring. So crossing that ankle over the opposite leg and sitting back into it and swapping. And then a nice forward fold to get those hamstrings as well. Good job, guys. All right, grab water. I'm gonna explain what the next moves are going to be for our second block of work, okay? So, oops. So block 2, we're gonna be working our back, our gluteus medius, so kind of the side of our glute, and then also our lower core, so the lower abdominal muscles. They're often really neglected. So for our upper body, we're going to be back on the mat just like we were for those lying hamstring curls. All right, we're going to be doing reverse snow angels. All right, so these are super fun. You're going to need a little bit of room on either side of you. What we're going to do is start up top. All right, so same kind of thing. Our gaze is about 6 inches in front of us. We keep our toes on the mat. All we're doing is lifting up our hands, circling them to the side of us, and then bringing them back up. And again, if you want to tap in between, you absolutely can. But the main thing here is that we are going nice and controlled, and we are controlling all the way through that movement. You can also just keep those hands up and just go back and forth. Again, bracing through that core, nice neutral neck, and really squeezing through those trapezius muscles, so squeezing those shoulder blades together. Lots of ways that you can challenge that those back muscles, all right? For our lower body, we're also gonna be on the mat. What we're gonna do is we're gonna face me, all right? We're gonna you can have either your hand underneath your head like this, or your arm out just like this, depending on which one is more comfortable. We're gonna bend our knees and bring them towards me. They make kind of a 90-degree angle. And from here, we're gonna be doing something called clam shells. All right, so hopefully you guys can see me. But we're gonna connect and keep our toes, kind of I don't even know what to call them, the sides of our feet connected just like this. And we're gonna bring our knees and open our knees away from each other. So we're gonna open just like this and close. All right, so you might wanna move your legs around, kind of feel what feels the most comfortable, keeping your feet sort of in line with the rest of your body and your knees jutted outwards, all right? Opening, just like a clam, and closing, really feeling it in that glute med. And if you need stabilizer, you can also put your arm directly in front of you, palm on the ground, just to stabilize you. We're also bracing to that core to stabilize us as well. So for this, since we have kind of double sides, we'll do a minute on one side. The next round, we'll do a minute on the other side. And the last round, we'll do half and half, okay? To try to minimize the amount of shifting we have to do. And for the last core move, we're gonna be doing something called rainbows in boat position, all right? So we're gonna start in a boat position. So hopefully you guys know what that is, but basically our legs are up like this. We're kind of rocking directly on that not too stable part of our sits bones. Our arms are just gonna be out like this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make a rainbow with our feet. So dragging, tapping our toes in a nice big rainbow. And this is kind of one of the more difficult positions to do it. So if you'd like to stabilize yourself a little bit more and really channel it into that lower core, you can also put those hands directly behind you, fingertips facing your toes. And from here, use them to stabilize and really squeeze through those core muscles, all right? So all we're doing, face you guys so y'all can see, is hands up or hands behind you, tracing a nice big rainbow. So coming a little bit to the side and then to the other side, getting a little bit into those obliques, not too much, but mainly in that lower core. All right, so hopefully you guys are ready to go. We'll get our timer started. Our first ones, remember, are those lying down reverse snow angels, right? So all that means that we're doing a snow angel rather than laying on our back, we're on our tummies, all right? So hopefully you guys are ready. Join me on the mat when you are. We towel off a little bit more and get ready to work those back muscles. Ready, set, go. All right, guys, so starting in the front, lifting, squeezing, 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 and then coming back to the front and tapping back down. And it's not necessarily a rest on the ground, all right? What I really want you guys to be focusing on is just tapping those hands down, just marking the end of a rep. But obviously, if you need a little break, you can do that as well. And remember, I know I'm gonna be looking at the camera kind of like this, just to make sure you guys can see me, but making sure that that neck is nice and neutral, nice 6-inch gaze in front of you. All right, so squeezing those shoulder blades together, maybe squeezing those glutes a little bit as well, just to stabilize yourself. Toes are on the ground. And our hands come all the way back near our butts, all right? All the way back there. So we're getting through that entire muscle of our back. Squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. I want you guys to imagine if you had a pencil between your shoulder blades, you wouldn't be dropping it. 3, 2, 1. All right, finish up that rep. So now we're gonna set up for that clam shell. All right, this one is arguably a really difficult setup, but just try to keep those feet in line with your hands or with the rest of your body. Find a position, plant that stabilizing hand, and open upwards, all right? So if you don't have a lot of flexibility in this area, It might feel a little wonky in the very beginning, but that's okay. All I want you guys to be focusing on is squeezing the outer portion of your glute, right? That's really where we're working today. And if you're only opening up this much, that is totally fine, so long as you're really feeling it in that glute, all right? But for some of us who are maybe a little bit more flexible, we can open up a little bit wider. Lots of different options. And again, if you don't want to be up, propped up like this, you can also be lying just like this. The main thing though is that we're resting on the meaty part of our glute that's on the ground, all right? We don't want to be too rolled forward or too rolled back like this. We want to be directly on that side, resting on the big meaty part of your glute muscle. All right, guys, 5 seconds left. We're almost there. Squeeze, 3, 2, and 1. Ouch. That one is pretty painful. All right, so for that core, I'm going to face this way so you guys can see my form a little bit better. But coming into boat pose, maybe putting those hands behind us if we'd like, and just drawing a nice big rainbow. What I would do most likely, guys, is I would start here, and then if you start to feel like you've got this move down, then go ahead and pick up your arms, just because I would rather that you feel stable and that you're really able to kind of channel that energy, channel that tension into that lower body, rather than, you know, wobbling all over the place and using other muscles to stabilize yourself in this. So squeeze into that lower core. We're going to draw that belly button up towards your spine. Nice flat back, right? I don't want to see any rounding like this. Just run a nice big rainbow. Really important too is I'm finding myself, my butt is twisting a little bit on the mat. What I want you guys to focus on is trying to keep your hips nice and square, right? So we're facing this way with our hips, a little bit different from normally, but we're not twisting too much, all right? We're trying to keep two nice straight lines in front of us with our hips, if that makes any sense at all. All right, guys, good job there. 10 seconds, grab water if you need it. We're going back to those lying reverse snow angels, just like this. Really focusing on getting those hands all the way down towards our butt. All right, and maybe this one, if you're feeling like you didn't feel it the last time, maybe you don't tap in between, you just control it. So what I don't want to see, or what I don't want you guys doing, is truly a true snow angel, right? This is not going to get us the same amount of exercise, the same amount of work in those back muscles as a nice controlled contraction through those back muscles as we move through this movement, right? So I want to see this rather than, you know, creating flurries of snow, I guess I'll say. All right, guys, that's halfway. Remember squeezing those shoulder blades together. And then as we reach back here, I want you to feel that nice engagement to those lats. So all the way down this side body, that's where those lat muscles are. That's where we're working here. That's a nice thing of doing kind of this circular movement, just like this. So we get to work a ton of different back muscles, right? So up here, we're working those traps right at the top. Sort of right in the middle, we're working those rhomboids, and also those traps. And then back here, we're working those lats. All right, guys, awesome job. Now we're going to the lower body, so switch sides. Oh, I gotta face you guys. If you're not facing me, that's okay, but coming onto that, same meaty part of the glute, stabilize your hand down, and we open, just like this. So again, those knees are facing towards me, right? They're not, your heels are not towards your butt too much that your knees are facing kind of to the bottom corner, but instead, directly towards the camera, or directly in front of you, right where your gaze would be. That's kind of where your knees are facing as well. We're going to stabilize into that core. It's really easy, especially as we open, to try to open up with our belly and face our belly towards the sky. I want your belly always facing in the same direction that your chest is facing. All right, guys, squeeze into that gluteus medius. All right. 5 seconds. Woo! I'm shaking. I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but ouch. 3, 2, 1. All right, guys. 10 seconds. We'll come back up into that boat pose. Again, maybe last time you tried it with those hands down. Maybe this time you're ready to try it with that boat pose. You can also kind of keep those hands crossed in front of you. Lots of different ways to do it. But the boat pose really just refers to kind of where those sits bones are and where those legs are, right? Rather than where the hands are. So lots of different options here. This, though, I feel provides the most stability and also gives you a good guide, right, to kind of think about what I was talking about at the very end of the last section, where we want those hips to try to stay as square as possible. So nice and controlled. You'll notice I'm not rainbowing like this, right? That is not going to give us the same effect as if we are really, really focusing on contracting those lower abdominal muscles as we move through this move. And if we need even more, we can also, I don't even think I can do this, guys, but we can lean back a touch just to move that tension a little bit farther up. Woo, 5 seconds. That one got me. All right, guys, we've got 20 seconds before our last round. So grab some water, right here. Same sort of mentality as we go into this last round, right? One, if you don't like some of these moves, or you don't like all of them, I'm sorry about that, but just remember we only have one more round through. And I also want you to focus on how can you challenge yourself, all right? So come onto the ground. Reverse snow angels, ready, set, go. So again, maybe that means that we don't tap in between. Maybe it means that we go even slower so we can contract those muscles even more. Maybe it means that we go slightly faster while still, keeping in mind, slightly faster while keeping in mind that contraction. Lots of different ways. But now that we know what we're doing, we are in a great position to really challenge ourselves, right? That's what I love about this class. 2 things. 1, totally moldable to whatever you're experiencing on a specific day. And also, it really equips you to take a move maybe you've never seen before, work with it, get the technique down, and then really drill it, really hit it hard by the last round. So hopefully you're enjoying that aspect of this class as well. It's one of my favorite things to teach. All right, 3, 2, 1. Whew. Good job, guys. I'm feeling that a little bit in my shoulders as well after those arm circles, but hopefully really channel in the back. All right, guys, so 30-30. We'll do half on this side, half on the other. So get right into that clam shell. It doesn't matter which side you start on to begin with. And again, don't forget that if you set yourself up in the beginning, maybe in something that's not as comfortable, isn't quite correct, feel free to adjust it, right? We only know sort of how our setup is affecting us once we start. So I'd much prefer that you stop, make sure that setup is correct, and then begin rather than continuing with the poor setup. All right, guys, let's switch it up. I'm gonna try to face you, but you can just roll it on over. Get yourself set up first, and then we'll begin. All right. That's a nice thing. Another nice thing about this class is that I use a timer, so it keeps me honest, so I'm not making you guys go too far over. But sometimes it does mean that we don't get to work quite as much on one side as we're setting up and stuff. So just keep that in mind. 3, 2, 1. Awesome job. All right, guys, 10 seconds. Woo, I'm feeling it a little bit in those glutes. All right, last time do this boat position, these boat rainbows. So maybe on this one, right, we keep those hands down, but maybe we focus on making a little bit wider of a rainbow, right? That might include a little bit more of that tilting of that pelvis, and that's fine. I just want you to be thinking about, right, we're not rolling like this, all right? As long as the thought is there, as long as you're trying your hardest to keep that, and let that be kind of your starting position, right? Nice flat sits bones on the mat, that's totally fine. If we want to be there and still making that nice big rainbow, we can also try it with our hands up. Woo, ouch, this one is painful. Maybe we're laying it back, rocking back just a little bit more to channel it into more of those upper abdominals as well. All right, guys, almost there. We got 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. All right, and rest. So 25 seconds before our next cardio peak. Leave. All right, cool. So this next one is a little bit of a kickboxing move. You're welcome to all of my combat people that are missing it. I'm missing it too. All we're gonna be doing is bringing our hands up to our face and just doing some alternating jabs. All right, so this is cardio because we're gonna be focusing on rotation through that core and through those shoulders. Ready, set, go. If you've never done a jab before, let me go through some of the basic cues. What I want you to be doing is aiming for nose, lip, and chin of your opponent. We're bringing those hands back to our face if we can, And if you feel a little bit stupid this first time, that is a-okay. Trust me, you look powerful. Nice micro bend in those knees. The faster you go, obviously, the more cardio, the more work your cardiovascular system is going to have to do. So really make this count, guys. Maybe add some more power here as we're halfway through. Keep it up, keep it up. We're gonna do those rotational shoulder movements. We're gonna do that core. Whew. Oh yeah. My stomach is full of water and it's making some noises. All right, guys, 5 more seconds. Let's do this. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful job, especially if you've never done a jab before. Very proud of you. Hopefully, you're feeling a little bit breathless. Maybe more breathless than last time, maybe a little bit less breathless, but we're still getting that cardio in. So grab water. I think my sister's in her room and she's trapped in there because I'm filming out here, but that's okay. All right, guys. Again, if you need any stretches, maybe taking one for your chest, maybe one for your back, hugging a tree in front of you, hugging a tree behind you. Oh, maybe do some shoulder rolls. We'll get right into the next little circuit. This is our last circuit, all right, guys? So something to look forward to. You are over 2/3 of the way done with class, so that's great. All right, guys, so what we're gonna be doing, chest, quads, and then we're also going to be working a little bit on our upper core, okay? So for our chest, I'm so sorry to do it to you guys. We're gonna be doing some push-ups, but these are some special push-ups, all right, and lots of options for those of you that would like to do them. They're gonna be walking push-ups, okay? So what that's gonna look like, hopefully y'all can see me, sorta. All right, that's okay. So what we're gonna be doing is 1 push-up to the middle. We can be at our knees, toes, or tabletop. We're going to walk, walk, all right, kind of pivoting on those knees, so allowing your knees to lift if they need to get into the correct position. And then we're push-upping to the side, and then walking back to the middle, and then walking to the other side. So there's 2 sort of steps that you walk with your hands. Then we're just pushing up in between, a little bit of rest, a little bit more work in those shoulders as we work those chests. Really, really important, just making sure that when we're doing our push-up, right, our hands are in line with our chest, and we're bringing those those elbows close to our body, and bringing those elbows tracking backwards just like that. Our chest doesn't go below 90 degrees with our elbows, and I'll cue some more things as we go through that, but really focusing on pushing the ground away from us as we push up. For our lower body, we're going to be working our quads. So we're going to kind of be doing like a half burpee movement. Alrighty, so what it's going to look like, and I'm sorry in advance again, we really got to hit hard this last round. So we're going to bring our hands down just like this as we squat. We're going to jump backwards, jump forwards, and then just lift as we kind of stay in this squat position. Okay, so basically the base move of this is a squat. We're dropping down, plant our hands on the ground, shooting our feet backwards, bringing our feet back up, and then just resting here. If you want to come up in between and do a full burpee, you're more than welcome if you need to give your legs a little bit of a rest. But the idea is that we kind of stay in this frog squat position the whole time and really channel it into our legs, all right? And if you want to do what we can do there, then we can just step it back. If we're not feeling the jump today, that's totally fine. But yeah, and then for our core, this is something called a one-sided bicycle. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna lay our upper body on the mat. Our lower body can either be up just like this, so directly up over our hips. They can be to 45, or they can be somewhere in between. Any of those are totally fine. We're gonna be doing a one-sided bicycle. So we bring our hands toward the sides of our head, so fingertips to temple. And like you would usually do a bicycle where you bring one hand to your elbow to your opposite knee. I'm having trouble talking today. And then you swap. We're just gonna do it on one side. So we're gonna do 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other, but we just kind of go like this, replace, and then back, replace, and back, replace. I'm someone who doesn't really like the bicycle too much. I always feel like I'm wobbling on my sits bones. So I found from this move that I'm able to get the same sort of oblique and also, core engagement without feeling that same kind of wobbling around, all right? So on the other side, exactly the same thing. I would suggest doing sort of a 45-degree angle, but if you're feeling like you just can't today, that's totally fine. Bringing those hands up, legs up to the ceiling is also totally fine and a great way to still channel and challenge those abdominal muscles, okay? All right, we're doing okay on time. We might run a little bit longer, but I wanna make sure that we get you guys a good cool down. But okay, so the first thing that we're gonna be doing is our upper body plyometric push-ups, or walking push-ups, okay? So when you're ready, come on down to the mat. Again, knees, toes, or tabletop is totally fine. I'll show all of those options when we begin. Ready, set, go. All right, guys, so one to the middle, we walk, one to the side, walk back to the middle, one to the middle, and one to the opposite side. There's kind of 4 push-ups in total to make an entire set. I challenge you to see how many sets you can do. So right now, guys, I'm on my knees. There's 2 other options you can do for this, right? So I'm gonna turn to the side so you guys can see. One of them being your toes. If you're a real push-up fiend, then challenge you to do this. All right, but I am not. So some other options, we can be on those knees, just like I mentioned. My knees a little bit further back, nice flat back. Just like this, we're in tabletop, where our knees come directly underneath our hips. And we channel that energy a little bit more to bring that chest down. So knees, a little bit more difficult. Tabletop, a little bit less difficult. Just find where you're most comfortable. For 3, 2, and 1. Awesome, guys. So remember that number. Think maybe we could beat it in the next couple rounds, all right? So lower body. We've got those froggers. Think for a sec. So again, coming into a squat, hands to the mat, push back, forward, and then rock up, and then rock back down. So there's just a little bit of a pause in between each move, in between each of these specific reps, all right? And again, if you wanna just tap or step it back, totally fine. All that I ask you to do is try to kind of alternate which foot you're stepping back with. That way we can try to stay as even as possible. And if you also wanna bring it into a full burpee, give those legs a little bit of a rest. We can step up and then squat down. We're not gonna add that jump in between though. All right, so this is meant to work our quads, not necessarily our cardio system. We'll do that later. Whew. All right, guys, last one. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, ow. All right, 5 seconds of flight on the mat for those one-sided bicycles. When we hit that halfway mark, we'll switch sides. So pick a side, bring the opposite arm. I'm doing my right leg and my left arm. Our shoulder blades stay up off the mat if we can. And if we're not quite feeling this, we can lower those legs. Or if we're feeling it too much, we can bring those legs nice and high to the sky. If your legs are up in the sky, I want you to really focus on bringing those shoulder blades up off the mat and keeping them there. All right, halfway, let's switch. The main thing with the switching though, we gotta make ourselves even. So if you did the other side with your legs way down here, we've got to do the other side with our legs down there as well. All right, a nice self-fulfilling prophecy there. So again, kind of like I mentioned in the beginning, any move we do, especially core moves, right? We gotta think about where our lower back is. So press that lower back to the mat. And last one there. Whew. Take a nice breather. Whew. This block, a little bit more difficult than the other ones, I would say. And maybe you're like, no, Maddie, this is easy. And the other ones were a little bit more difficult for you. That's totally fine. Everyone is up to their own opinion. All right, guys, back to the upper body. For those push-ups, walk-in push-ups, here we go. I also just realized I never introduced myself, so that's good. Basically, Zoom just makes me frazzled. If there's anything that you guys are learning right now, that's what it is. My name is Maddy. I'm a sophomore, no, I'm a junior now at William & Mary. I teach combat, body combat, and I also teach this strength conditioning class through 3. So if you like this class, I think I'm gonna be teaching it at noon on Saturdays for the next 4 weeks. So a little bit later than this class, maybe it'll give me a little bit of time to wake up. But I've loved having you guys. Y'all are rocking it. So I'd love to see you again. All right, guys, 10 seconds. We're almost there. Pushing that ground away from you. Last one. Awesome job, guys. So back to those froggers. These ones, admittedly, are difficult. So stay with me. If you need a little breather, feel free to take one. Ready, set, go. Doing these really at your own pace is completely fine. The main thing that I want us to focus on with these squats though, right? We want to make sure we're getting nice, good squats, is that our butt should be pressed backwards like we're sitting in a chair. Our knees do not cross over our toes, right? They should be right in line with our ankles if possible. Our knees also are going to kind of press outwards, guiding outwards, and our chest stays nice and lifted. All right? We're more than halfway, guys. Keep it up. Oh yeah. And again, if you want to take that full burpee, full expression, more than welcome to. Give those legs a little bit of a breather. Ooh. This is a little bit of cardio as well, huh? 3, 2, 1. Beautiful job. All right, guys, come onto the mat. Laying on our backs. Oh, so graceful. All right, so legs that come up, fingertips to temples. And all we're doing is a one-sided bicycle crunch. I did steal this move from combat, as I often do. If you've been to Pump before, you know I stole those Biometric push-ups from them. Seems I'm doing a lot of stealing today. But no, it's really just because, for my own personal sake, right? I take those classes, I love the moves, I really see the results, and I want to bring them to you guys. So, that's my mentality. Switch, so bring that other leg and opposite arm. So I am now on my left leg and my right arm. And again, if you want to bring those legs up, just try to make yourself as even as possible. Those shoulder blades are up off the mat. Squeezing, thinking about where that lower body is, where that lower back is. Pressing it into the mat, engaging that lower core. Whew. All right, guys, good news. Only one more time through this. Grab some water, towel off. We're going back into those upper body push-ups. For these ones, I challenge you, maybe try it on the level 1 up. So for me, I've been doing them on my knees, so maybe I try a couple reps on my toes. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll save them to the end, we can all do them together. If you're in tabletop, maybe you try and bring some just to your knees. Check in with yourself, guys. Make sure that gaze, again, nice neutral neck. Our hands are in line with our chest. Our elbows are pressing outwards and backwards. And we're pressing into the floor to push ourselves up, just like that. And if you remember that number from the first time, our goal is to try to be there, at least feel like we beat it, right? All right, guys, pushing away. We've got 10 seconds. Let's all come up into that upper level if you can, and try to get a little bit more into those muscles. Woo. Oh my gosh. I think it really shows that I haven't done a full push-up in a while. All right, guys, lower body into those froggers for the last time. This time, maybe we get a little bit deeper into that squat. Maybe we focus a little bit more. You're good. Okay, you can come in, it doesn't matter. We have a special guest. All right. So guys, as we come up, really focusing on getting that chest all the way up, right? We don't want to just come like this. This isn't a very powerful position. I want us to come into a full expression of a squat. And, combat means just making me bring our hands up. You don't have to bring your hands up. You can do anything with those hands. You can leave them down. Ready to kind of press us back. Woo! Sweat is flying off my face. Hopefully it's the same for y'all. 10 seconds. Let's see if we can get 3 more in. 2. Last one. Oh. All right, we'll get a nice quad stretch in 1 second. All right, guys, last little move. We've got 2 more minutes of work. We can do this. Laying on the floor. Feet up in the air. Fingertips to temple. And let's do one side. So, something I find to be helpful is that if we inhale as we bring that elbow and knee together, and exhale as we push it out. Just keeps that air flowing through our bodies. Get enough oxygen. Swap. And again, try to keep it at that same level. Check in with that lower back. Make sure that you're sucking in, pressing your lower back to the mat. Bringing that belly button to the spine is what I meant by sucking in. Bringing that belly button and attaching it to your spine. Engaging those transverse abdominis muscles. 2, last one. Ouch. My goodness. All right, guys, 25 seconds rest. We are going to finish with our cardio peak. Last cardio peak of class, last 1 minute of class. So what we're gonna do is something called a basketball hop. It's kind of like a 2-step movement. We hop over and then jump up. So it's 1, 2, hop, 1, 2, hop, just like that. Ready, set, go. We're just channeling our inner Troy Bolton here. I don't know. I can't remember. I think it was Haley. If you guys know Haley Ramsey, pretty sure she did a dance. Or no, it was Ola. It was Ola. My bad. She did a dance where she involved these. It was quite fun. All you're doing is nailing that 3-point shot. I don't know that much about basketball. Pretty much all I know. So guys, what you can do, get a little bit lower into those legs and spring up, or if we want, we can just step just like this for a lower non-plyometric option. But otherwise, we got 15 seconds. Let's go. See how fast we can get to that next jump. Whew. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh my goodness. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. We're gonna move into our cool down section. All right, so what time is it? All right, well, it's probably already on your cool down songs if you've been playing the Spotify playlist, because I'm running a little bit late as usual. But go ahead, pick one of those cool down songs, the last 2 songs on the playlist, and come down into a nice big, we're just gonna lay it down on the mat, you guys. We're gonna get into that core, trying to stretch, pull apart the 2 halves of your body. We're just resting here, laying long on the mat, pointing those toes, trying to reach down towards your feet, and then trying to reach wherever you're facing with your hands. Let's take 3 nice big breaths in together. Inhale and exhale. I'm breathing too heavily to even count. Inhale and exhale. Just trying to regulate that breathing, get that heart rate to slow down. 1 more. Inhale and exhale. All right, you guys, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring those knees into our chest. All right, give ourselves a nice big hug. Maybe a nice little rocking here. We can massage our lower back out just a touch. It did a lot of work for us today. We're really focused on protecting it. What we're gonna do is pick one of your legs to keep hugged in, and the other leg, we're gonna extend out long, back onto the floor, onto the mat. What we're gonna do, take that hugged knee in, and we're gonna twist it over to that opposite side. So press your palm into the outside portion of that knee and twist it over for a nice big full body twist. What we can do is extend that opposite arm, or sorry, the same arm as the knee outwards, and look out over our fingertips to really twist that entire body just like this. All right, guys, we're gonna turn this into a figure 4 stretch here, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring that knee back up, bring that laying down leg underneath to a bent position, bring that, that ankle over the bottom knee, and we're gonna reach through that window and pull just like this. All right, so what I want you guys to do is laying that head back on the mat if you can. If you're a little bit tighter, you can pick that head up as well. Just pulling that knee towards you. If you want, you can take that arm and push on the top of that knee. We worked these glutes pretty hard today in our first circuit and also our second circuit, so they deserve it. All right, guys, lengthen that bottom leg out again. Squeeze that top knee in, and then bring that lengthened leg into meet once again. Just like this. Going back to that kind of starting position, and we're gonna do the same thing on the opposite leg. So extend that leg that we just stretched outwards, just like that. Again, bringing your hand on the outside of that knee and push it over to that opposite side, keeping those shoulder blades on the mat. Maybe feel a little bit of a pop through your back like I just did. And extend that same arm out and look over towards your fingertips. Just relax in here. I think people are mowing outside. Sorry about that, guys. All right, we're gonna turn this into a figure 4 stretch. So bring that top knee, flex that bottom knee up to the sky, so knees to the sky, and bring that ankle over that bottom knee, and then pull through that nice big window. And again, if you can, try to lay that back on the mat. Just taking some nice deep breaths here. Maybe placing that hand on that top knee and pushing outwards. Really channel that stretch. All right, guys. And let's bring both knees in together. We're gonna rock 3 times into a standing position, just like this. Awesome, awesome job, guys. All right, we're gonna go ahead and stretch through our quads. So with a nice micro bend in one of your knees, grab the other leg through your shoelaces and pull it forward just like this. Knees stay together. Again, nice micro bend in that standing leg. And what I like to do is place that hand outwards for stability. If you need a little bit extra, you can also pull with both hands, just pressing those hips forward. Awesome job, guys. Let's switch it up. So, nice micro bend, taking those shoelaces. Woo. All right, and that opposite hand out for stability. Pressing those hips forward, and maybe bringing that opposite hand. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry if I missed your chat. Oh no, let me see what that says. Keep stretching. Okay, Brenna, just Brenna. Thank you, Brenna. All right, guys, keep stretching there. awesome job. Now what we're gonna do is get a nice shoulder stretch in. So bring one of your arms across your body and just hook it together, pulling nice and gently on that arm, making sure it's either above our elbow or below it, but definitely not on that joint directly. We'll do a nice shoulder roll here, so bringing that shoulder up, back, and down. Get into all the portions of that shoulder. Stretching it out to the other side. Same thing, not pulling directly on that shoulder. We go up, back, and down. Thank you guys again so much for coming. I know it's a little early on a Saturday, but you guys rocked it. I'm feeling super sweaty. Hopefully you guys are as well. Hopefully your muscles feel nice and warm. Take on the rest of the day. All right, guys. Very nice job here. What we're gonna do is finish out with a nice big chest stretch after working those plyometric push-ups. So we're just hugging a nice big tree behind us. And then we're gonna reverse it. So circle those arms around and hug a nice big tree in front of us, pulling those shoulder blades apart, just like this. All right, guys, and give yourselves a nice big round of applause. Y'all rocked it. So again, my name is Maddie. I teach this class. I think I'll be teaching it Saturdays for the next couple weeks. So if you loved it, or really liked it, you can definitely come back. I would love to see you back. But yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording, and if you guys have any questions, you can let me know. But have a great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend, and if I don't see you again, have a great summer. All right, I'm stopping now.